Mr. President, the candidates are assembled.
Today we're gathered in formal convocation to celebrate the 232nd commencement exercises at Purdue University. Please rise and join in singing our national anthem, then remain standing for the invocation to be offered by Minister Rodney Lynch of the Purdue Baptist Student Foundation.
Let us go to the throne of grace. Gracious Creator of the universe, who has brought us together on this glorious day, you who is love and has enabled us to gather today in harmony with one another, we give you thanks for this magnificent occasion and for you who is merciful and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in mercies. We set aside whatever separates us to gather as one body of people before you, and for that we say thank you. We thank you for your sustaining us throughout this academic year and throughout our entire college career here at Purdue. We thank you for the faculty, staff, administrators, and the faith communities who have supported and influenced these students to do the good work of yours. Loving God, for this occasion, we ask that you would be a comfort to those of us for whom this is a difficult day due to loss, sorrow, regret, or even deep alienation. Be our peace, be our strength, and be our joy today as we hear from all who have been summoned to speak. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great privilege to extend a most cordial welcome to all who've joined us for the 232nd commencement ceremony of Purdue University. Before introducing the members of the platform party, I'd like to ask you to recognize the representatives of our great and distinguished faculty who are with us today. Will our faculty members please stand? We're honored to have with us members of the Board of Trustees of Purdue University. I request they stand as I call their names and remain standing. And please hold your applause till all have been introduced. Thomas Spurgeon, Vice Chairman, Peoria, Illinois. Joanne Briette, Lafayette. Michael Klipsch of Carmel. Daniel Romery of New Haven. Please join me in greeting our trustees. We have with us also representing Purdue University Administration the following individuals. Jay Ackridge, Interim Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Diversity. Frank Dooley, Senior Vice Provost for Teaching and Learning. Elisa Christmas Rollick, Vice President for Ethics and Compliance. Christina Wong Davis, Vice Provost for Enrollment Management. Karen Plout, Interim Dean, College of Agriculture. Michael Harris, Associate Dean of Engineering for Engagement and Undergraduate Education. Linda Mason, Interim Dean of the Graduate School. James Moeller, Associate Dean of the Graduate School. Christine Laddish, Dean, College of Health and Human Sciences. David Reingold, Dean, College of Liberal Arts. David Hummels, Dean, School of Management. Patrick Wolf, Dean, College of Science. Gary Bertolini, Dean, the Polytechnic Institute. Willie Reed, Dean, College of Veterinary Medicine. Makaran Hastak, Head of Construction Engineering. Jane Kirkpatrick, Head, School of Nursing. Catherine Sermershine, Dean of Students. Stephen Schultz, Legal Counsel. Charlene Sullivan, Teaching Academy Executive Counsel. Alberto Rodriguez, Chair of the University Senate and our Grand Marshal this morning. Jerry Ross, University Registrar and Chair of our Commencement Committee. Will you join me in greeting these individuals? We're pleased to have with us on the platform other important members of the university family. J. Michael Pickett and Lindsay Peralt are public orators. Myron Yoder and Wendy Nice are sign language interpreters. We couldn't do without them today. Purdue has an endless number of impressive alumni who make us proud, and we'll be adding another 1,000 or so to that list today. This morning's speaker, though, stands out among the very finest. Brian Lamb is the executive chairman of the C-SPAN Networks, which he founded in March 1979 with 4 employees. Born and raised just across the river in Lafayette, Brian began his career in broadcasting at local radio station WASK at the age of 17. He earned a Purdue degree in speech in 1963 and joined the Navy shortly after graduation. His 4-year tour included stints at both the White House and the Pentagon. Since launching C-SPAN, he's interviewed some of the world's top leaders, including 8 U.S. presidents, Margaret Thatcher, Mikhail Gorbachev, and many, many others. His outstanding work's been recognized with the Presidential Medal of Honor and the National Humanities Medal. At our spring commencement, I observed that Purdue's greatest graduates, for all their accomplishments and renown, uniformly conducted themselves with humility and self-restraint. No one better embodies that admirable combination of qualities than our speaker today. We're so privileged to welcome this remarkable alumnus back to Purdue. Please join me in greeting Brian Lamb.
Good morning, everybody. Before I begin my formal remarks, I have to give you a little explanation about what this is all about. I have a real treat for you today. This may turn out to be the shortest graduation speech you've ever heard or ever will hear. The president gave me permission. Mary Fran Matson at Communications gave me permission to do this. So here we go. You need to know this. Abraham Lincoln lived in this state for 14 years, from the age of 7 to the age of 21. He gave a famous speech called the Gettysburg Address that many of you have read. I'm pegging this off of that 271-word speech in honor of him and in honor of the spirit of the length of that speech. Here we go. This won't last very long. To paraphrase one time Hoosier Abraham Lincoln's speech at Gettysburg, the world will little note nor long remember what I say here, but you will never forget what you did here. Today's a very happy day. You graduates deserve to give yourselves and your parents and spouses a big hand. Let me hear it loud, very big. Purdue has been very good to you and to me. The worldwide reputation has, here I can't even get my separation here. Great professors right here, a solid education, and lifelong friends. Leaving here is a big tradition. So here are some brief suggestions for the next phase of your lives. Learning is a lifelong proposition. Never stop, or you will soon grow old. Read and read some more. Just ask Dr. Jasmine Linneberry, who you'll hear shortly. Especially read history. Historian David McCullough says, quote, "It's a larger way of looking at life," unquote. I recommend his new book called The American Spirit to better understand what it means to be an American. For perspective on today's world, read Mitch Daniels' 2009 Butler University speech. My generation and the baby boomers haven't always done the right thing. Now is your opportunity to do better. A few other things I've learned. And by the way, we've set up a website that some of you might be interested in with this speech on it and a lot of hyperlinks called graduationspeech.org. Graduationspeech.org. Look it up afterwards. You might have fun with some of the links. As I said, other things I've learned is travel, experience the world you don't know. Interview your parents. Record it. You'll come to treasure this. Stay close to your friends. Thank your favorite professor. Do it again in 10 years. It will inspire them to continue teaching. Make music a part of your life every day. It will make you happy. Put your phone down once in a while. Ask questions of others. Listen to their answers. Develop a good handshake. It leaves a lasting impression. And finally, be involved. Be involved as a citizen. Our country isn't broken, but Washington is. You are our best hope to fix it. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Mr. President, the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree will be presented by Linda J. Mason, Interim Dean of the Graduate School.
Will the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree please rise? Mr. President, these candidates have successfully fulfilled the requirements of the graduate school. With the approval of the faculty, they are now presented to you to receive the Doctor of Philosophy degree.
Exercising the authority of the trustees of Purdue University, legally vested by the people of the state of Indiana, and upon the recommendation of the faculty of Purdue, I now confer upon you, who have fulfilled the highest requirements of this university, the Doctor of Philosophy degree, with all the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of this tremendous achievement, you'll now be vested with the hood of the Doctor of Philosophy and receive an appropriately inscribed diploma.
Doctors of Philosophy, will you please come to the front to receive your diploma?
Candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree will be hooded by their major professor or by the Dean of the Graduate School. We ask that you please hold your applause until the final name has been announced. Abdullah Al-Azami. Akwiya Amankwa, hooded by Professor Wayne Campbell. Peter Donald Anderson, hooded by Professor Martin Krusensky. Timothy Joel Anderson. Tatiana Artemanova, hooded by Professor Lori Serwanka. Wada Bint Ashraf, hooded by Professor Jan Olik. Shalmenti Jayaraman Athinarayanan, hooded by Professor Leo Wanching. Jeffrey Avery, hooded by Professor Eugene Spafford. Suprava Baniya, hooded by Professor David L. Hummels. Iman Beheshti Tabar, hooded by Professor Nathan S. Mosier. Kamal Belmihub, hooded by Professor Margie Burns. Jacob L. Burrow. Esdi Bashikji, hooded by Professor Christopher R. Agnew. Norman Bradley Best, hooded by Professor Brian Dilks. Mohammed Adnar Rajib Bhuijan, hooded by Professor Venkatesh Marwati. Chetin Kershat Belir. Shayon Bishwash, hooded by Professor Li Chiao. Israel Borges Sebastian. Mason Burns, hooded by Professor Margot Monteith. Minyut Tsai, hooded by Professor Oleg Wasenchuk. Alfredo Carlo Ovino Canciani. Tyler J. Carter. Suparna Chakraborty, hooded by Professor Tithi Bhattacharya. Chen Chen, hooded by Professor Christopher Andrialkos. Chen Chen, hooded by Professor Min Zhang. Chun Liang Chen, hooded by Professor Cynthia V. Stoffaker. Lin Yang Cheng. Yun Jin Cho, hooded by Professor Chantal Levesque Bristol. Leland Chong. Catherine Noel Clayton. Elena Cortez Santiago, hooded by Professor Janet Alsop. Ryan David Cummings. Sumaya Dawood, hooded by Professor Victor Raskin. Logan Colby Dawson, hooded by Professor Michael Baldwin. Wei Yande, hooded by Professor Ninghui Li. Yuan Deng. Benjamin R. Denos, hooded by Professor R. Byron Pipes. Ding Ijie. Kellyanne Nadine Dixon Hamill, hooded by Professor Hao Zhang. Zachary McKay Ellison, hooded by Professor Eric Deemer. Moklis Ahmed Moklis El-Sisi, hooded by Professor Peter Hurst. Juomei Fong. Guy Feldman, hooded by Professor Susan Hunter. Tian Li Feng, hooded by Professor Shulene Ron. Lauren Brooke Friley, hooded by Professor Maria K. Venetis. Sean G. Franzak, hooded by Professor Stephen Bowden. Jeffrey Charles Gardner, hooded by Professor Michael Manfra. Yan Gu. Chen Guo, hooded by Professor Yingji Chen. Andrew H. Hales, hooded by Professor Kipling Williams. Nicholas T. Hari. James William Harris, headed by Professor Raj Gounder. Zachary J. Haas, headed by Professor Bruce Craig. Muhammad Khaled Hassan. Sui Yu Ha. Fong Ning Ha, headed by Professor Melba Crawford. Erica Lynn Hegland, headed by Professor Elizabeth Strickland. Larry Eugene Himes, Jr., headed by Professor James L. Moeller. Casey Kumi Youngyan Ho, headed by Professor M. Fernandez San Martin Gonzalez. Darby J. Haas, headed by Professor Stephen Bowden. Ashish Ranjan Hota, headed by Professor Shreyas Sundaram. Wan Lin Hu, headed by Professor Tahira Reed. Xin Ying Huang, headed by Professor Mark Leto. Whitney K. Huang, headed by Professor Hao Zhang. Haley A. Hughes, headed by Professor Eric Deemer. Anura Suresh Indulkar. James J. Jacobs, headed by Professor Keith Wisty. Sujin Zhang, hooded by Professor Kartik Ramani. Amber Marie Jarnicki, hooded by Professor Susan Carroll South. Guangying Jiang. Shufen Jin. Abhilash Jindal, hooded by Professor Y. Charlie Hu. Anna Lee Josephson, hooded by Professor Gerald Shively. Cole H. Jocelyn, hooded by Professor Morgan Hines. Layla Nesrin Kayaolu. Thomas R. Conaby. Alex Teresa Carrero, hooded by Professor George Bodner. Sky Chernicky Karcher. Arif Khan, hooded by Professor Alex Pothen. Chung Hwan Kim. Jin-hee Kim, hooded by Professor Mara Facho. Robert F. Kirchable, hooded by Professor Randy Roberts. Michael William Knopf, hooded by Professor R. Byron Pipes. Matthew J. Krafchick, hooded by Professor Kendra Irk. Sergei Kravchenko, headed by Professor R. Byron Pipes. Ameya Sanjay Kulkarni. Yun Young Kwok. Matthew Lakebrink. Harshud Uday Lalit, hooded by Professor Jay Gore. Wei Ling Law, hooded by Professor Alexander L. Francis. Dong Hwang Lee. Jinsa Lee. Hyung Young Lee. Tien Ray Lee, hooded by Professor Kimberly Kinzig. Bei-Wen Lee, hooded by Professor Song Jong. Xue Li, hooded by Professor Hubo Kai. Xiao Li, hooded by Professor Kevin Mumford. Jasmine R. Linneberry. Peyton E. Lindsay, hooded by Professor Arun Prakash. Xing Liu. Yun Liu. Kanak Vivek Mahadik. Nicholas Paul Marino, hooded by Professor Harry Denny. Corey Ann Mathis, hooded by Professor Tamara J. Moore. Andrew Duncan McGregor, hooded by Professor Randy Roberts. Daniel Mejia, hooded by Professor Gerhard Klimek. Rochelle Mellish, hooded by Professor Carolyn Free. Jen Hao Meng. Aaron James Michaud. Nicholas Miller. Amr Mohammed Shahat Mohammed. Mohammed Mashraf Javadi. Sung Gyun Mun, headed by Professor Su Chian Jang. Shan N. Natoli, headed by Professor Tong Ren. Imabli Genda Himana, headed by Professor Gregory Knipp. Prasanth Reddy Nyalapatiya. Ji Hwan Oh, headed by Professor Yun Ho Chun. David Orrego Lopez, headed by Professor Michael Laddish. Darwin Ortiz, headed by Professor M. Fernandez San Martin Gonzalez. Heather L. Oswald. Angela P. Pacheco Gonzalez. Donan J. Pye. Jing Pan. Jaehan Park, headed by Professor Hubo Kai. Ju Young Park. Serum Park, headed by Professor Linda Lee. Devin Donald Parkus, headed by Professor H.J. Malosh. Semper Cardin. Ramon Pena. Luis Moises Peña Lavano, hooded by Professor Wallace Tyner. Jacques Pinard, hooded by Professor Raphael Long. Cecil K. Pilla, hooded by Professor Kartik Ramani. Rachel A. Plascona, hooded by Professor Heather L. Servati Saib. Hitesh Shridev Purohit. Lynn Chain, hooded by Professor Edie Schmidt. Carlos Roberto Quesada, hooded by Professor Clifford Sadoff. Arnab Raha, hooded by Professor Vijay Raghunathan. Varsha Radhapali, hooded by Professor Joshua M. Alexander. Andrew W. Rarenden, hooded by Professor Rachel L. Einwaner. Cassie Ann Reuter, hooded by Professor Raphael Lang. Sarah F. Roby, hooded by Professor Tong Ren. Jessica A. Robinson, hooded by Professor Felicia Roberts. Christopher M. Romley, hooded by Professor Daniel P. Shepherdson. Andre S. Rogoff. Carla Ann Rosenfield, headed by Professor Bruce M. Applegate. Jyoti Roy. Santa Drew Roy, hooded by Professor William A. Crossley. Layla Sadeghi, hooded by Professor John E. Haddock. Alejandro Salazar, hooded by Professor Jeffrey Dukes. Mariam Salahi Esfandaani. Awesa Sunyal, hooded by Professor Seema Matu. Kimberly R. Saviors. Summer Ryan Semon, hooded by Professor Mara Facho. Shen Xiao, hooded by Professor Xiaqi Liu. Emily Dubose Sherman, hooded by Professor Donald R. Lynham. Jingyu Soon, hooded by Professor Paul Preckle. Robert Paul Spragg, hooded by Professor Sarah Hubbard. Nurul H. Suleimai. Caitlin Ann Suba Kitbanhan, hooded by Professor Stephen Landry. Emily Grace Taylor, hooded by Professor Kara Stewart. Brad D. Theda, hooded by Professor Mitchell Twinstra. Levi M. Thomas. Matthew James Tennisketer, hooded by Professor William J. Heinzer. Neelad T. Trifale. Sandra Milena Usaga Giraldo, hooded by Professor Marcia Stevenson. Janet Nora Volo, hooded by Professor Jessica Huber. Sebastian Tinson Stanley Y. Hao Yu Wang. Swen Wong. Xingang Wang. Yu Wang, headed by Professor Gerhard Klemek. Marcus M. Wira. Mandy J. Whedon, headed by Professor Natalie Duvall-Quitil. Tomasz Maciej Wiomanski, headed by Professor John R. Burgess. Elizabeth Joan Wirtz, headed by Professor Evelyn Blackwood. James R. Wadika, headed by Professor Craig J. Gorgon. Christian S. Wright, headed by Professor Wayne Campbell. Yu Chen Wu. Chao Young, headed by Professor Ching Jiang. Jonathan J. Yasowski. Yu Chen Yen, headed by Professor Andrew Messakar. Karthik Rojenda, headed by Professor Kaushik Roy. Lisa Young, headed by Professor Venitria K. Patton. Kan Yua, headed by Professor David L. Hummels. Tuba Yüksel, headed by Professor Lynn Bryan. Dan Dan Zhang, headed by Professor Bruce M. Applegate. Lei Yu Zhang, headed by Professor Michael Laddish. Wan Shu Zhang. Zhou Zhang. hooded by Professor Melba M. Crawford. Chin Ju, hooded by Professor Brent K. Jesiak. Tong Ju, hooded by Professor Li Bai Huang. Cheng Yi. Chi-Wei Li. Daniel Leto. Wang Liang. Wang Liang. Hooded by Professor Barrett Caldwell. Shirley Hunter Smith. Xian Yuan Zhang. Xiang Hyung Lee. Yeah, that's you. Fan Chen. Esther Teixeira. Shang-Chi Chiu. Elizabeth Wirtz, hooded by Professor Evelyn Blackwood. Daniel Little. Chin-Wei Li. Chang Li.
Mr. President, the candidates for the Doctor of Nursing Practice degree will be presented by Christine M. Lodish, Dean of the College of Health and Human Sciences.
Will candidates for the Doctor of Nursing Practice degree please rise? Mr. President, these students have successfully completed the professional requirements of the curriculum in the College of Health and Human Sciences. With the approval of the faculty, they are presented to you now to receive the Doctor of Nursing Practice degree.
Exercising the authority of the trustees of Purdue University, legally vested by the people of the state of Indiana, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I now confer upon you the Doctor of Nursing Practice degree, with all the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of this achievement, you'll now be vested with the hood of the Doctor of Nursing Practice and receive an appropriately inscribed diploma.
Doctor of Nursing Practice, please come forward to receive your diploma.
Shannon Moore.
Mr. President, the candidates for master's degree will be presented by Linda J. Mason, Interim Dean of the Graduate School.
Will the candidates for the master's degree please stand? Mr. President, these candidates have successfully fulfilled the requirements of the graduate school. With the approval of the faculty, we now present them to you to receive the master's degree.
Exercising the authority of the trustees of Purdue University, legally vested by the people of the state of Indiana, and upon the recommendation of the faculty of Purdue, I now confer upon you the master's degree, with all the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of this achievement, you will receive an appropriately inscribed diploma. I now invite the marshals to escort all students who are receiving master's degrees to the platform.
I should point out to you that in a few minutes you're likely to hear a test of emergency sirens. It's the first Saturday of the month, and it's only a test and celebration of our graduates. Anusha Adranki.
Ankit Manerakar.
Martha Marcella Avarenga.
Walter Martin.
Rahul Anand.
Marcela Martinez Chavez.
Lawrence Anderson Jr.
Valinda Latisse McBride.
Eric Arcella.
Cassandra McCormick.
William Arnett.
Heather McKeechee.
Angad Arora.
Casey Underwood.
Kaylee Ash.
Siddharth Mehra.
Shanti Priya Badathala.
Hillary Mersdorf.
Nathan Banga,
Timothy Michaels,
Nicole Barber Stonker,
Marcia McCullen,
Anna Marie Baroni,
Jay Mullane,
Natalie Bates,
Alexander Miller,
Aaron Bauer,
Robbie Miller,
Angela Bedingfield,
Ashley Mimbella,
Shakila Badi, Michael Boersma, Arana Borkataki, Heather Brink, Michael Brockway,
Pooja Nittinshaw,
Andy Brown,
Melissa Newby,
Rachel Bwensu Sisu,
Gregory Neeser,
Rohit Birani,
Gayatri Narayanan,
Julia Burchell,
Vivek Nagaraja,
Sarah H. Calder,
Susan Molnar,
Ann Kavanaugh,
Alicia Moore,
Ashish Chowdhury,
Scott Moore,
Shayus Chowdhury,
Shelby Murphy,
Yulu Chen,
Jason Mutzfeld,
Subramaniam Chidarabaram,
Christina Oates,
Katie Klassen,
Carolyn Ober,
Cami Cleary,
Rebecca Olenek,
Jessica Klauser,
Radella Orpe,
Cassandra Montney,
Maria Laura Ortiz de Zarate,
Lauren Colliver,
Jackie Orton,
Alyssa Courtney Cotton,
Jordan Oshiro,
Kathleen Ann Courtenay,
Brian Otis,
Michaela Coyne,
Adarsh Patil,
Patricia Crow,
Susan H. Page,
Joshua Kurth,
Arjun Padmanabhan,
Alexandria Dam,
Ayush Patwari,
Omar Derry,
Michael Plant,
Amy Davis,
Kimberly Porter,
Samuel Dawson,
Lauren Potts,
Brian DeWitt,
Garrett Price,
Akshay Deshpande,
Jessica Purcell,
Jessica Dick, Nicholas Denoli,
Arthi Ramesh,
Suwandana Duangundam,
Cirillo Rangel,
Devin Duncan,
Kirthan Rao,
Emily Dunn,
Amelia Rising,
Gregory Dunn,
Allison Reith,
Allison Durham Smith,
Christopher Rockwell,
Sarah Elder,
Nathaniel Romine,
Erica Ellis,
Kelly Roston,
Sheila Evans,
Akil Salunke,
Javier Fernandez,
Arundyoti Sarkar,
Victoria Fionvanti,
Caroline Sherb,
Thomas Fisher,
Darren Seidel,
Olatunji Fulani,
Brandon Sowles,
Bhagyashree Ganore,
Hafira Shabir,
Audrey Gavin,
Jet Yushi,
Janelle Gergen,
Kara Simon,
Taylor Goodpaster,
Shweta Singh, Mark Slusser,
Apurupa Gorthy,
Alyssa Snyder,
Heather Gossel,
James Soppy,
Jared Grandin,
Whitney Souza,
Amy Guy,
Melinda Spazzari,
Samuk Hali Mysore Ravendra,
Amit Srikanth,
Elizabeth Honiff,
James Stafford,
Cameron Hardin,
Brian Sullivan,
Hiral Haria,
Shruti Suresh,
Kelly Harris,
Rodrigo Suzak,
Emma Hawes,
Sagur Shivtambar,
Catherine Harrett,
Christine Toms,
Benjamin Helfrich,
Wei Ling Tong,
Joya Helmuth,
Seval Taskin,
Tomoko Hiramatsu,
Andrew Thomas,
Rachel Holloman,
Brett Thomas,
Zachary Holthouse,
Elizabeth Thompson,
Cody Hornaday,
Harold Tinoco Giraldo,
Akshay Jain,
Lisa Tronchetti,
Mohit Jain,
Allison Twyman,
Pratik Jain,
Ganesh Vairavan,
Laura James,
Anumitha Venkatraman,
Gia Jain,
Sarah Voza,
Ryan Johnson,
Stephanie Wade,
Byron Johnson,
Catherine Wabel,
Naga Tajadeep Kalipi,
Kaiyu Wong,
Crystal Kalk,
Wang Shu Kung,
Ashef Kadgar,
Yushi Wang,
Stacy Kelly,
Ola Wasau,
Eli Kern,
Kelly Wan,
Shifley Curry,
Lisa Welch,
Brianna Kiefer,
Denise McAllister,
Candy King,
Kyle Wilstatter,
Krista Nickelbein,
Xiao Yu,
Abhishek Krishnan,
Li Yi,
Janice Lee,
Kelsey Young,
Jenny Lemon,
Jennifer Zahner,
Xin Lee,
Xiao Wei Zhang,
Jen Lee,
Yi Zhang,
Chi Jen Liang,
Bazga Zia,
Margaret Lincoln,
Emily Zimovan,
Benjamin Link,
Hillary Zortman,
Jared Little,
Tristan Zuber,
Ki Lu,
Sean Gorman,
Ji Hang Lu,
Dexter Patterson,
Stephen Lowe,
Muhammad Al-Ghasem,
John Lynch, Graham Lyon,
Ri Feng, Daniel Mediate,
Now we want to take a moment to give special recognition to those graduates who have demonstrated outstanding scholastic achievement. On page 22 of the program, you'll find the explanation of the criteria for awarding degrees with highest distinction and distinction. Will those graduates who are candidates for the honor of highest distinction please stand and remain standing? And will those graduates who are candidates for the honor of distinction please stand? On behalf of the trustees and the faculty, congratulations on your accomplishments. We're counting on you to continue making exceptional contributions in all your future endeavors. Congratulations again, and please be seated.
Mr. President, I am pleased to present the candidates for baccalaureate and associate degrees. Candidates, please stand as I call your college or school and remain standing. College of Agriculture, College of Engineering, College of Health and Human Sciences, College of Liberal Arts, School of Management, Polytechnic Institute, College of Science, and the College of Veterinary Medicine. Mr. President, these students have successfully fulfilled the requirements of the undergraduate curricula in their respective college or school. With the approval of the faculty, they are now presented to you to receive the appropriate degree.
Exercising the authority of the trustees of Purdue University, legally vested by the people of the state of Indiana, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I now confer upon each of you the appropriate baccalaureate and associate degree with all the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of your achievement, you'll now receive an appropriately inscribed diploma. Please be seated. I now invite the marshals to escort all students who are earning the baccalaureate and associate degrees to the platform.
Now, in order to respect everyone's opportunity to hear their name called, will you please refrain from applauding and cheering for your candidate until all the names have been called? The College of Engineering, Nelson Fretch.
The College of Agriculture, Haley Goebel.
Mark Adams.
Fei Du.
Wade Bassett.
Christopher Griffin.
Matosh Becker.
Catherine Holland.
Sam Bellier.
Chuchuan Lee.
Sindrahara Burra.
Lingnan Liu.
Deanna Cabrera.
Jacob Rickert.
Shonak Dadagupta.
Benjamin Savage.
Anuraj Gade.
Michelle Schlupp.
Jainesh Gande.
Caitlin Stallers.
Zachary Harrington. Levi Hyatt. Scott Holdison Jr. Levi Irvin.
The College of Liberal Arts, Sarah Polich.
Connor Jensen.
Preston Anderson.
Asim Jha.
Jared Bond.
Balu Key.
Sally Conklin.
Fuad Kore.
Morgan Cook.
Sung Joon Kim.
McKenna Cronk.
Rafina Kwan.
Brittany Epley.
Christopher Lamb.
Gemini Fox.
Richard Lins.
Michaela Greiner.
Jingshu Liu.
Yu Zhang He.
Matthew Longoria.
Mengqing Hu.
Alexander Lukenhaus.
Ashley Husk.
Jatin Manhan.
Quinn Kelly.
Palomasaris.
Hyan Zhang Kai.
Kirill Mekilov.
Brian Tate Latinovich.
Nolan Mahalan.
John Leslie.
William Pichter.
Caitlin Lickdell.
Zachary Rady.
Tyrese McGee.
Joseph Renard.
Greta Michael.
Felicia Sarda.
Melanie Montemayor.
Jerry Schwartz.
Mario Polari.
Tejesquar Seth.
Kevin Peterson.
Monish Shah.
Anita Schaefer.
Mahin Sheikh.
Ryan Schmier.
Jad Sleiman.
Mudit Sharma.
Zachary Smith.
Jacob Smith.
Jinglong Sun.
Christian Stanley.
Kyle Turner.
Graham Thompson.
Yang Wong.
Haley Tao.
Michael Weiss.
Jason Tu.
Shuang Wu.
Diego Velasquez Reyes.
Dongming Xia.
Charlene Visco.
Xiyu Xia.
Tyler Warfield.
Ran Zhang.
Ke Wu.
Tinyi Zhang.
Eliana Yu. Kaylee Zeef.
The College of Health and Human Sciences. Laden Alumi. Christopher Allen.
The School of Management, Christopher Johnson.
Sydney Arnold. Tyesha Baker.
Anandita Agarwal.
Caitlin Begley. Mallory Belinsky.
Jia Dong Chun.
Megan Boardman.
Yingzi Chen.
Shelby Bostock.
Jiping Chen.
Christian Brown.
Matthew Cranley.
Megan Buskey.
Wei Huang He.
Jonna Copsey.
Easton Hochstein.
Justice Dean.
Yingzi Ho.
Whitney Diep.
Li Wen Hu.
Meredith Endress.
Stephanie Appalucci.
Jamisha Estelle.
Kyle Joyce.
Alexis Fetters.
Jessica Kosis.
Hannah Fisher.
Kylie Constant.
Allison Hennessy.
Yusun Lee.
Lance Hilton.
Chunong Lee. Junlong Lin.
Emily Hockemeyer.
Li Chuang Lin.
Taylor Hoeing.
Carson Lortz.
Danny Huang.
Yunsheng Ma.
Mark Huffman.
Alex Miller.
Jack Kessie.
Fei Bayan Pal.
Emily King.
Xin Yi Pan.
Amber Klimt.
Drew Schroeder.
Amanda Cook.
Austin Starkey.
Alexandra Kruger.
Dan Stefanovich.
Kaylee Lockus. Brandon Lair.
Chase Theme.
Lee Jun Schwan.
Stephen Blake Valdez.
Yunyi Lin.
Shunqian Wang.
Alex Lyons.
Yu Wei Zhang.
Hannah Manger.
Evan Zonder.
Laura Maceris.
Kaylin Duncan.
Anisha Mubarak.
Kai Yuan Gao.
Ona Nguyen. Jacob Payne. Sydney Payne. Margaret Perkins.
The College of Science. Moeen Abu Amar.
Carolyn Poole.
Karan Agarwal.
Megan Ray.
Diana Angulova.
Caitlin Rarick.
Alexander Oralis.
Meredith Risky.
George Barth.
Sally Romanek.
Andrea Choka.
Jordan Davis.
James Damron.
Jake Vales. Alexis Vasquez.
Emma Davidson.
Carolyn Vaza.
Adeline Evans.
Whitney Vitas.
Austin Fipole.
Anna Vilcha Zabadez.
Chandler Griffin.
Martin Vogelweed.
Stephen Hom.
Sarah Walker.
Obahai Ipefen.
Xing Wang.
Jade Nicole A. Keen. Yoon Soo
Jessica
Kim.
Wingate. Terry Woodall.
Chin Young Lee.
Xiao Xiang.
Victoria Nijinsky.
Kunyi Shi.
Zhu Yu Pan.
Xi Xiaoming.
Caleb Roseberry.
Jing Xu.
Elisha Rothenbush.
Ming Yang.
Mitchell Smith.
Ashley Yarbrough.
Callan Spatz.
Tinyan Rachel Young.
Gabriel Torres.
Omar Zamora Vieira.
Anthony Tran.
Jiao Song Ju.
Catherine Wilsbacher. Da Yu Shu. Joashi Wen Yu.
The Polytechnic Institute. Cody Grissom. Anshul Bosley.
The College of Veterinary Medicine. Haley Parr.
Taylor Boyle.
Elizabeth Hinshaw.
Bradley Searing.
Miranda Mills.
Allison Dolson.
Lacey Page.
Luke Fellebaum.
Jennifer Randall.
Eric Gallum.
Caitlin Roberts.
Benjamin Hardy,
Crystal Straka,
Morgan Hay,
Christina Wolf,
Madison Holliday, Andrew Huberts, Calvin Jones, Clayton Jones, Mattie Jones, Patrick King, Ryan Cortana, Yvonne Ma, Brian Mag, Suchitha Mahapatra, Alexander Orm, Garrett Peruse, Alexis Ruiz, Brooke Sales, Basil Smotherman, James Sprague, John Thompson, Alec Walls, Dustin Weisner, Zuare Jung, Alexis White,
Okay, it's official. You're now graduates of Purdue University. Welcome to our newest alumni. It's now time for you to observe tradition by moving your tassel from the right side of the mortarboard to the left, signifying your new status. Congratulations once again. We honor these graduates today for their hard work and accomplishments, but they'd be the first to acknowledge they did not make this journey alone. So will the parents and grandparents and spouses and brothers, sisters, other family members and friends who are with us, please stand so these graduates can thank you for your long and loving support. The audience is now invited to sing the Purdue hymn. The words are located inside the front cover of the program and will also be projected. Will you please stand? Please be seated. This is the 62nd anniversary of the university's Cooperative Education Work-Study Program. On page 25 of the commencement program, you'll find the names of those engineering students who've earned a certificate for the satisfactory completion of the co-op program. And I direct your attention to page 32, where you will find the name of the graduate who has been commissioned by the President of the United States as a Second Lieutenant United States Army. You may also have noticed some of our graduates are wearing red, white, and blue cords, signifying that they are veterans of the U.S. Armed Forces. Will those servicemen and women please stand so we can recognize their patriotism and express our gratitude? I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the artistry of the Commencement Band with Director Jay Gephardt, the PMO Commencement Choir with Associate Director Sarah May, our organist Jeffrey Stearns. Thanks for their incomparable artistry in today's program. I'm now pleased to introduce Jasmine Linneberry, who was selected to be this morning's student responder in recognition of her scholarship and her leadership in many student and campus organizations. Jasmine's receiving a Doctor of Philosophy in Communication today, and upon graduation, she will remain at Purdue as Associate Director of Research and Operations for the Purdue Peace Project. Please welcome Jasmine Linneberry.
Thank you, President Daniels, for that introduction and this opportunity to speak on behalf of graduating students today. At Purdue, we are often reminded that we stand on the shoulders of giants. Giants like astronaut Neil Armstrong, civil rights activist Helen Bass Williams, Academy Award-winning screenwriter Callie Corey, and of course our speaker today, Brian Lamb, founder of C-SPAN. But those are not the only shoulders on which we stand. My story is not just my story, but one of the generations, particularly of women who came before me. I would like to use my speech today to encourage us to reflect on those who came before us, because knowing where we came from is key to knowing where we are going next. I come from a long line of strong and persistent frontier women who were educators, storytellers, and community builders. Each of them has transformed the lives of those around them for the better. All were bright women who recognized the value of education, though were not always able to pursue it. My great-grandmother Ruth graduated valedictorian from her high school in Nebraska at the age of 15 and received a scholarship to go to business school, but her family had no money to send her. Both of my great-grandmothers, Ruth and Bertha, moved west to Montana with their families based on the promises of land and a better life, enduring the Great Depression, droughts, and frigid winters in which they did not have money to buy coal or wood to keep warm. They labored alongside their husbands and children to farm untilled soils, run dairies, feed their families, and build community in their small towns. My grandmother, Pat, who is in the audience today, was also valedictorian at her high school, but unable to afford college at the time. She has always had a strong desire for learning, so after retirement, she has taken some college courses. Both of my grandmothers are and were equally bright and persistent. Pat, who carried the load of her family during her husband's military service, and then later worked for a newspaper, and then as an office manager for an irrigation district. And Paulette, a school teacher, columnist for her community newspaper, and a single mother. Both became highly active in their communities, finding ways to make the world better for those around them. My own mother, Jill, graduated from high school on the honor roll, but despite being on the dean's list, dropped out of college to marry my father. She later attended night classes to finish her degree while working and raising 2 young girls as a single mother. She worked hard to make ends meet, not having the luxury of seeking a career path she was passionate about. And now that her daughters are grown, I stand in awe of the way she seeks to engage in work she finds meaningful and that impacts her community. Today, I am the first woman in my extended family to earn a PhD. It is the often unrecognized labor and resilience of these women who came before me that made possible the path that I'm on, a path I imagine none of them thought possible. This has a path that has taken me from graduating with honors from high school and college, to working as a reporter and a managing editor, to attending graduate school where I've had the opportunity to travel nationally and internationally, to engage in research and teaching that makes a difference in the world. I really can't imagine that either of my great-grandmothers, while trying to simply survive on the Western frontier, could have ever imagined that their great-granddaughter would have the opportunity, for example, to travel to West Africa to help prevent political violence, work I engage in as part of the Purdue Peace Project. By looking back at how far we've come, it helps us to see where we are going and the legacy we want to someday have. Reflections on the women who came before me encourage me to seek to make the world better, to persist when times are trying, and hopefully to pave a path that enables future generations to go where not even I thought possible. Today, I thank the women who came before me. This achievement is as much theirs as it is mine. I call on each of you to reflect on the legacies of those who came before you and on whose shoulders we all stand. Thank them, learn from them, and then set out into the world to make your own mark, charting paths that were previously unimaginable and paving the way for those who come after. Thank you very much.
And so we conclude our commencement convocation. On behalf of the trustees, the faculty, and all the Purdue family, I bid you farewell and Godspeed. Minister Lynch will offer the benediction. Please remain seated afterwards while the faculty and candidates recess.
Let us pray. Eternal being, our sustainer, our strength, our security, who has called us to be a people of deep compassion. Enable us now to go forth and serve others freely as we implement what we have learned. Cause us to do our will, cause us to do your will with humble hearts, that we play our part in making right all that is amiss in our community and world. Reconcile us who are at odds with you and with one another. Make us a people of service, devotion, honesty, integrity, and justice. Unite us, loving ones, so that we would be an example of harmony and justice in a world torn by conflict. Finally, be with us in our efforts to unite and come together. Be with us as we fight for righteousness and justice for all who are oppressed. Empower us to be a voice for the voiceless as we fight against those who would ignore them. Be with us, Holy One and all-powerful One, in the difficult task of building a united front which has meaning in terms of our world today. We pray to Thee with a sense of confidence in the future that the work which must be done, we shall do empowered by You. Now unto God, who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask or think, according to the power that works in us. To God our Savior, who alone is wise, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. Amen.